I
Aha.
was going to tell you I didn't think it was on yet.
um, but yeah, but most of my sleep was really good, and and I've been sleeping well and getting quite a bit of getting my stretches and exercise, and that all makes a big difference for me now.
Yeah, I could imagine. And generally speaking, how much sleep do you like to get per night?
Um, well, I really need at least 8 hours.
Mm.
I probably prefer 9.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I take a nap every afternoon.
Right,
Um, I can. I seem to do just fine on 6 hours sleep.
right.
Um,
Not probably not for too many days in a row, though. I would imagine.
yeah, well, sometimes it's 4 during the week when I'm teaching.
Wow. So when you are sleeping at night, do you sleep through uninterrupted generally?
Oh no!
Oh,
Since my prostate cancer treatment, I my urination function is kind of weird, and I am up usually 3 times a night.
mm,
Sometimes it's only 2, sometimes it's 4,
right.
um, and it isn't always easy. Um,
Are you on any meds for the prostate?
what?
Are you on any kind of medications for the prostate to help it not block up and all?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, and my cancer is totally gone. I haven't.
Right,
There's been no indication of its return, so
right,
that's
thank goodness.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so I'm, really I'm, and my, well, today's a good back day,
Hmm.
which means the pain isn't too bad. Uh,
Right.
um, so, and my back is, it's not overwhelming. It's just one of those things I deal with.
What area specifically on your back is the problem?
Oh, I have severe degenerative arthritis of the lower spine, which is called spinal now I can't say the words. Uh,
Stenosis? Is that it?
Stenosis. That's what I want,
Okay.
and it's mostly on the lower left side,
Hmm.
some on the right.
Does that affect your sciatic nerve?
It did until I got appropriate practice going that took care of that.
Hmm.
Um, the Taoist spine stretch and some other
Right,
qigong.
right.
And here's the bill.
Well, I've had some. My lower background started becoming a problem around 2020, and I went through physical therapy. I was having a lot of sciatic problems also. I learned how to manage it, and I started going to the gym at that point 6 years ago and building up my core muscles, and I've been able to manage it pretty well since then. Changing my sleep position and things like that. I can't sleep on my stomach anymore like I used to, but
No.
just doing my best to avoid any kind of surgery intervention for as long as possible. And so far, I'm doing pretty well with avoiding
Yeah.
it.
Um, I highly recommend the Taoist spine stretch. Did you ever learn that?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I've used it. I've stopped using it regularly for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm doing pretty well. But you're right. I probably should reintroduce that into my life. I've used it many times over the years.
Yeah, I do it every day.
Mm,
Um, it doesn't take a long time, and
true.
now.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you do the 3 repetitions of it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, you're not supposed to repeat it for 5 hours. So
Right.
sometimes I'll do it again later, but usually it's just once a day.
Right. That's what I did. I don't think I ever did it more than once a day. Except maybe at times that I was in severe pain back when it first became a problem before I learned how to manage it. Just
Yeah.
to stretch it as much as possible.
Yeah, when I first started it, when I was in severe pain and
Mm.
sciatica and the whole thing. Um, I did it twice a day. I would think most days for a month.
Mm.
But I got rid of the pain. I was pain free for over 10 years.
Wow, that's encouraging.
Um,
Mm.
and then gradually, it got worse and
Right.
the
Well,
arthritis got worse.
I mean, the degeneration probably never really stops. We can slow it down, but
Yeah.
eventually it's going to reintroduce itself.
Yep.
I
So
think
you,
that's the mode I'm in now, is where I've slowed it down as much as possible, and I learned how to manage it. So,
yeah. And Bill's here. How are you?
I'm fine.
How's your back?
Oh, where is wood?
Yeah, you don't want to join our crowd.
Yeah, I don't even comment. I mean, so you can read between the lines
Yes. Okay.
and look at the smile. So
All right. Well, we are recording, so just so you know. So, how is your opening and closing? What issues do you have? What successes?
I think
Anything?
for me, it's really kind of trying to get the opening. I've been working on the midriff this week, trying to work with that and the bend the bow and the relaxation of the opening and closing, trying to get that all work together and coordinated such that it is working together. And, like you said, not leading with the arms, but having it come out of the midriff and also being managed by bend the bow. I'm just trying to practice and get that all functioning as one. So
Good.
some progress, I would say.
Good.
I don't know whether there's progress or not. I get not confused but sidetracked. I mean, I start focusing on opening and closing, and then I think to myself, is the twisting going on? Okay, then I lose track of the opening and closing,
Yep.
and then there's the lengthening. Okay, and what's the distinction between the lengthening and the opening? And so it smudges the picture. But
Exactly.
I'm not sure what way to address that kind of thing, other than to just say stop it. Let's just focus on the opening and closing.
So what's happening is that you're not staying present
Mm.
with what your intention, your focus is, and that's that's one of the things. Hopefully, we're learning with all of this. And at the same time, I recognize that there are a ton of details that we're trying to coordinate.
Yeah.
And so that makes a real challenge to staying present, particularly when you're learning focusing on a new detail.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the lesson, is being able to go through a form or gods or whatever you're working on, and be able to maintain that all the way through. So your awareness of that is really good and really important that you have that, and endeavor to work on and recognize that you're not a bad person because those other things come up, but you have to be able to say, I know, but later, another time.
Yeah.
Right now it's opening and closing, and it's easy for me to say that. It may not necessarily be easy for you to do that all the time, but I know exactly what you mean, particularly when you are flowing along and opening and closing is going well, and you're staying focused with that, and all of a sudden something goes wrong, and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah.
And learning to just let it go. Stick with what you're doing. And again, it's easy for me to say that. It's not easy to do it. But you can. You can.
Yeah, I mean, Bill, what I said before was basically alluding to exactly what you just said when I said I'm trying to get things to all work together, because I pay attention to my midriff, and then I forget about the opening and closing relaxation, and I go back to focusing that. And it's just, there's short periods when it feels like everything works together, but much of the time I'm focused on one particular aspect too much, and it just kind of all goes haywire a little bit. So I know exactly what you're talking about too, because that's where I am at every practice.
Yep.
It's
All,
just,
all I can say is, what?
I said, I think it's just part of the learning process. That's learning how to let go and stay in that present. That's part
Yep.
of what is learning that process.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking, been there, done that. I'm not. I I can go through and stay focused on one thing now, but even 5 or 10 years ago, maybe I couldn't always do it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a matter of practice and just trying to stay present with what your focus and your intent is. So, other thoughts or questions? I don't mean to cut off discussion. No. So, we're going to start looking at the lower Dantian, and I'm going to do kind of what I've been doing, Jeff and Bill. Bill's already been exposed to these in the other class that he's taking. So these are a repetition. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing in the same detail.
Okay.
I will giving you kind of the high points, and of course we'll send you the full notes, and you can get the other details in there as we go.
Yep.
So we're going to begin looking at the lower Dantian. And as you know, this is one of the most important points in the body. and it's one that we focus on a lot. And it's difficult because we don't have a physical location, we don't have a joint to focus on. It is an energetic place that we have to find. And the real difficulty becomes when you recognize that there are two dantians. So the dantian that we begin working with, and that we're always working with, and it is certainly important, is one. Actually, the Chinese term for it is qi hai, meaning the sea of qi, and it is. They both are located along the center line of the body, and approximately a third of the way between the navel and the pubic hair. And one of the things I'll say here is I really say approximately because if you remember Jay's Dantian challenge,
Yes.
one of the things that we discovered in working on that was that your dantian isn't in that precise place for everybody. Sometimes it's noticeably lower, sometimes it's slightly higher. So you have to feel that place, and that's one of the things we're going to work on today. And it's located, again, approximately a third of the way towards the center of the body, below the skin. The second one, which is the actual dantian, is located on the center channel of the body, in the very center of the body. And they do different things. They're not the same. They're certainly related because they are directly above the other or one below the other, and there is some connection with their function. Qi hai, the acupuncture point, actually is really controls the entire energy grid of the body, and so it's extremely important that way. And it also affects the thinking, but it's not in the same way that the real dantian does. So the dantian, and in China, when they use the term dantian, they're referring to the second one, the lower one, the one that's in the center of the body. So they would use the acupuncture point named Qi hai to refer to the forward point. I am going to get specific about a little bit here.
When you say the second one is in the center of the body, do you just mean more inside the body, away from
Yeah.
the surface?
Yes, they're both along the center line of the body, but the dantian is literally in the middle of the body on the central channel.
Oh, so you mean the horizontal central channel going around?
No, that's not the central channel. That's the belt channel.
Well, I'm trying to envision how they can be at the same height in our body, but on the same channel. They must be.
They're not on the same channel. I didn't say that.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood them. What did you say? They're both on the center line? Is that what you said?
Center line of the body.
Oh, okay.
So the chi hai is about a third of the way towards the center of the body,
Okay.
underneath the skin,
Right.
and the dantian is located in the middle of the body, on the central channel.
Okay.
So, do you know what I mean by the central channel? Do you remember that?
Well, the one that goes up and around, right?
What?
The energy channel that goes around the circuit that goes around.
That's the microcosmic circuit. No.
Well, then maybe I'm
That's located. That actually would be connected to chi hai.
Right. I remember that because we learned all the points along it.
Right. Right.
And I remember Chi Hai was our
Yep.
Double Dantian at the time. So, well, what is the central channel then? And how does that differ?
So, the deep the deep channels of the body that we are trying to eventually work with. There is a central channel, and the side channels go from the shoulder's nest to the qua in the torso.
Right.
In the legs and the arms, the side channels travel along the outside of the bones, and the central channel travels through the center of the bones.
Okay.
So these are the deeper energy channels, not that primary energy grid towards the surface, which all the acupuncture points work with, the points on the microcosmic circuit, of which Chi Hai, of course, is one.
Right. Okay.
So does that?
Yeah, that differentiates it for me for sure. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry I had not made that clear to you.
Maybe you had it at one point and I just forgot. So I wouldn't worry about it.
I'm not worrying. What, me worry? So the dantian, the deeper one,
Right.
has a different function from the first one. It controls every energetic movement in your body that affects your physicality, your emotions, your thoughts, your psychic perceptions, your karma, and your essence. So this is a much bigger thing. The first one, that is just a little bit behind the skin, about 1/3 in towards the back of your body, controls your acupuncture meridian system and the basic energies of your physicality, but not necessarily how your emotions are felt, or how your emotions affect it, and how it affects your emotions, nor how your thinking affects it, and how it affects your thinking, and so on. So these are two really different points with different functions in the body. And I think the our main difficulty is in feeling these and being clearly aware that we are feeling them. And so I think I think what I would like to do with you guys first is ask you to tell me, what do you think you feel at your dantian, at your lower dantian, at whatever you're feeling there?
What do you mean by lower dantian? The first one that we've been working with all along, or the more inside one?
I want to know what you feel at that point, whichever you're feeling, or both if you are.
Sure. Okay. I mean, I've never thought in terms of two dantians there, so I don't know how to really answer that. I think you probably mentioned that in our past study once or twice. I kind of vaguely remember that, but I don't think we've ever gone into detail on the one that's more inside. No, I didn't know. I don't know if I can answer that. I feel something different from one to the other. I can say that, as I've gone on in life and practiced more and learned more and become hopefully a somewhat wiser person, I think the inner dantian, has given me a lot more feedback and taken a lot more presence in my life. In everyday life.
Well, that's all very interesting. It's not what I asked you.
Okay.
What do you feel there?
Just simply physical feeling?
Energetic, physical? What? Do you feel anything there?
Yes, energetically, I feel like it is more and more prominent as time goes on.
Uh-huh. Good. Okay.
That's what I was trying to say initially, that I'm more aware of it. I think it's more influential in everything I do, not just when I'm practicing.
Okay. All right. Good.
Inconsistent, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I feel, and it's an energy pulsing sensation,
Mm-hmm.
when I feel it most clearly is at the close. When
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Having worked it for a while, and maybe not focusing on it until that point when there's nothing else to focus on.
Yeah.
I don't know that I was aware of the distinction between dantians, so I can't respond to the inner one. I don't know. I will say that I have a little mental battle going on as far as the difference between physical space inside the body and energetic space, sort of, and I assume I'm looking for mostly energetic space, but sort of guided by physical, but it's a battle that's going on in my brain. The easy thing for me would be to find the physical,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm aware of my body, fairly well. But when I feel that that's a trap for me.
Yep.
So
I think you're right. And thinking too much about it is part of the trap.
Guilty as charged. No.
Again, been there, done that. Because the only way you can effectively connect with either one of these points is to feel it, feel the energy. And it's very difficult to feel the Dantian itself. Qi Hai is relatively, well, I shouldn't say easy, but it is, because it is closer to the surface, it's connected to the acupuncture system and that flow of the energy through the whole body. It is certainly easier than feeling the Dantian. You were talking about closing. If you're able to connect the two Gong points and focus them to the Dantian, it becomes really powerful in the closing. And that's part of why we do it that way. Believe me, I understand. I think one of the things is to recognize that we don't arrive at a point of being able to feel the actual center and left and right channels. We feel the energy somewhere between the surface and that channel because it radiates out. That's what we work with until we actually can feel that channel. And the left and right are much easier to feel than the center channel. That's not necessarily true for everybody, but generally speaking, that's the case. I have no idea what you may have felt in your practice. We have a few exercises we can do here, and
Can I ask you one question before we get into the exercises?
no.
Well, then how about two?
Okay.
I've got one question for you personally now, because it'll help me understand what I'm experiencing. As you've gone through your own practice over time and all that, and gotten more connected to your Dantian, not Qi Hai, but the Dantian itself, you said that it is the center for emotion, intuition, and so forth. Have you found that those things increased in your life, that you have become more intuitive, that you have become more in touch with your emotions, maybe more empathetic with other people, and so forth?
I would say yes.
And you would attribute that to your connection and awareness of the Dantian, and how it is influencing you, even when you're not realizing it's influencing you.
Well, I think it certainly makes a difference. Yes.
Okay. That's my personal experience, and I don't know if it was just life's experience, but since we are now focusing on the actual Dantian and the place where these things do originate for us, it's giving me something else to think about as far as why mine have been improving and increasing over the years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's helpful.
So, stand up. I might suggest, I don't know whether this is comfortable or easy for you to do, but these are probably a little more effectively done if you can lift up your shirt and focus on bare skin, but it's not. You don't have to take it clear off. No, just be able to touch your skin. So what you want to do is take a finger, and it's preferable not to use your fist, and place it at the point where you think you feel your dantian. And then press in very slightly until something feels different. I can't tell you exactly what that will feel like. There's many ways it could be experienced. But find a point where something is different. And usually that is Chi Hai. And then start making small circles with your finger, pushing in a little. And you eventually discover that something inside your body starts changing. And if you actually can find that, you have found your lower dantian. And to really be aware of your dantian, you do have to do some other specific forms of Qigong in order to really connect with it. They train you to be able to get your mind into it, because it's not as easy as it sounds. Getting your mind not only inside the center of your body, but actually being able to feel your central channel rather than just thinking about it as something on a graph. So pause that for a moment. So whatever your experience of that, that's one beginning exercise to try. And I will say not just to try, but to do until you can actually be aware of those two steps. So now I want you just to inhale and exhale into that point. So press in, go back, and again press in until something changes. And then circle until something feels different. Then focusing on your breathing, exhale into that point. And see if you can just get this feeling inside your entire body to change. You may find that if your hand goes in a little bit more or comes out a little bit more, you're going to find the place that if you actually breathe into that spot, that you'll get a reaction. And this is subtle. It's not physical. So you have awareness, and you have sensory apparatus. So you are able to feel things. And these are the only ones you have. There's no machine that can do it. Now, keeping your finger there, sit down. And I want you to open and close everything from the midriff to your hands. And try to be aware if that begins causing some kind of a response in your lower dantian. You're trying to recognize some sort of response, change, or other effect. and relax. And this is a sequence of practice that can be very helpful in beginning to really feel your lower dantian. Either one. So, anything you want to say or questions about that?
It wasn't until we sat down towards the end of all this that I can say that I started to feel something a little different. And I don't even know if what I felt was my dantian or not, but it felt like lower down below the muscle surface I was feeling, I could feel a little something opening, closing, pumping a little bit. As I was trying to do the bend the bow and everything else while we were sitting, it felt like I could feel something a little below the surface doing a little pumping thing on its own. That's the only sensation I would say that I felt through that. It wasn't really until the end, and I don't know if it was my dantian or just some muscular reaction to it or not, but it was different than I had felt up until that point.
So this would be a good thing for you to work with.
Okay.
To really and one of the things I would say is, as with all of probably all of these sequences of practices, that sometimes you need to just take the very first one and just do that until you begin to feel something, and then go to the next one. Because actually feeling your lower dantian is essential. And it is, most people have difficulty arriving at that.
Right.
I mean, I would say most of my students. Anyway, I don't know about if we had 1 million people whether that would be true or not, but I think so. Bill?
I felt something different from other places where I've tried to identify as we've gone through things. This felt like a distinct pressure. Is the best I can do. And then I did feel some energy. If I just tried to use my mind, it didn't happen very much. The breathing helped, certainly. And reverse breathing seemed to be more productive.
Good.
Interesting. Normally when I say I'm feeling the energy move, it's a sort of electrical force field cloud, This felt distinctly at first horizontal movement, and then a little bit, but I was experiencing it as not this shapeless thing, but energy moving this way and that way. Not very often, but when I did feel the energy, that's what I felt there, which is different from any place else in my body where I've identified energy.
So, I think what you were feeling was the belt channel, which goes around the waist. In effect, actually, it goes from the dantian. It rises slightly, and as it goes around, It's one of the 8 extraordinary acupuncture channels, energy channels, and obviously we, the microcosmic orbit travels around the center of the body through all of those points. So, absolutely, that sounds perfectly normal. Sounds like good connection.
I will also say that the single finger seemed to produce a better orientation than the circling finger.
Might just try sticking with the single finger and not circle.
Yeah.
Experiment, that's fine. Okay, well, anybody have a form question? Let me throw out.
No, I only did a little bit on form this week. I don't have anything new that came up.
Okay.
I mean, every time I do it, I find something to be worked on, so.
That's good. That's how you grow.
Sorry?
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have one that relates to something you mentioned last time that I meant to work on this week, and I forgot to do it now that this comes up. But you had mentioned that as far as in wave hands, keeping the rotation going consistently throughout. I don't know, any tips on how we can do that better? Because I mean, it invariably hits points where it kind of stalls briefly and that kind of thing.
I think recognizing the points where it tends to stall and slowing down before that so that
Okay.
you're able to keep rotating through that point. What I was thinking about was that I remember when I was working on that aspect and I would get out to the side to hear and I wanted to be out here. And inevitably a pause developed before I came back in again.
Yep.
Also recognizing the difference between the two sides. That when you're going from the left to the right, that there it gets smaller and it gets larger and it gets smaller. But when you come back to center going to the left, you want to make sure that you are not already going too much this way, that you have left some extra rotation for that side, because you have a longer turn and a larger circle.
Right.
So
And I do find two things that you mentioned there. I do find on both ends, when I'm at my widest point, I do tend to freeze a little as I turn back around.
Yep.
And at the middle, I tend to do the opposite. I tend to speed up a little too much going through the center point and switching over.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what I was doing without me even telling you.
And being aware of, now that we've talked about the the Dantian, being aware of the Dantian continuing to move.
Oh, okay.
You know, if if your dantian freezes, then your body freezes.
Mm.
So if you are keeping your body rotating, it will help you keep the arms rotating.
And I think that's the problem I encounter on both far ends is I'm rotating, and then I stop and I start to turn around and then I start to rotate again instead of
Yep.
just, there is that pause as I hit the furthest point on both sides. So, yeah, I've got to figure out, I've got to work through that a little more consistently, I think.
It you know it's a critical piece in everything we do.
Mm.
Keeping everything going.
Silk reeling.
You
That's the way I think of it still.
you 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 know I repeat all the time the quote from Wu Yuxiang. If anything no if any part stops, everything stops.
Right.
And if every part moves, then if all the parts move, then everything can move.
Mm.
That's a paraphrase.
It was something like one part moves, all parts move, one part still, all parts still, kind of.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that as well.
So, and it's part of Master Joe's basic teaching. I mean,
Right.
how to do the dynamic sphere.
Mm.
We don't do one cycle and then pause and then do another.
Right.
It just keeps going.
Mm.
And I think that was part of, I probably have told you this, but when we were learning that and learning to walk and do it, he would make us walk about a quarter of a mile doing
Wow.
just to make sure that we kept it going.
Right. Right.
I mean, you have to realize that Master Joe was a bit of a fire teacher.
Yeah.
He was not a water teacher
Right.
like Bruce.
Right.
So there were some really good things he did, but also some that I would not choose to do.
Yeah. And I do remember us many a time doing the dynamic sphere and walking across the class. But when
Yeah,
we got to the side, we stopped.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why when we were trying to keep it going, we would try to do it in a circle.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
that's just a really important piece, and it is really hard to do. I will say that as I age, I find it hard to maintain
Right.
in doing the form
Yeah.
because I can't do some of the things I used to do.
Right. Understandable. Yep.
Yeah. So you try to find other ways to keep it going.
Do your best.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I think I'm going to let you go at this point.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will send you all the notes, and so you can read through them at some point.
Thank you.
And have a good week.
Yeah.
You too.
Okay.
Take care, Bill. I'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Take care.